Look, I'm not here to scare you. But here's the truth. 282 million people faced acute food insecurity in 2023, and that number is expected to climb to 345 million across 79 countries. Most people have no idea what's coming. While everyone argues about politics and scrolls through social media, the smart ones are preparing quietly. They're not hoarding conspiracy theory rations or spending thousands on freeze-dried astronaut food. They're simply stocking up on 6 powerful, everyday foods that could literally mean the difference between surviving and thriving when grocery shelves go bare. I've spent months digging through reports from the World Bank, the World Food Program, and survival data from people who lived through real crises, hurricanes, wars, and supply chain collapses. And here's what they all point to. We are living in an age of food crises on a scale humanity hasn't seen in decades. Wars, climate shocks, and fragile supply chains mean shortages and price hikes are no longer rare, they're routine. This isn't fear-mongering. It's happening right now. And if you're not prepared, you risk being one of the millions of people scrambling when the next shockwave hits. So let's get into it. These 6 foods aren't exotic. You can find them at any grocery store today. But when crisis comes, and it will, you'll be glad you stocked them. Stick with me until number 6, because it's one almost everyone overlooks, and it could be the quiet hero that saves your family. 1. White rice, the backbone of survival. Yeah, I know. Rice? That's your big survival food? But listen, white rice is the staple food for more than half the planet's population, and there's a reason it has stood the test of time. Stored properly in airtight containers, white rice can last 25 to 30 years. That means if you buy a bag today, your kids could still be eating it in 2055. Compare that to bread, which molds in 3 days without refrigeration. When disaster strips life down to basics, calories and energy are everything. Rice delivers both cheaply, reliably, and with almost no preparation. All you need is water and heat. A prepper who survived Hurricane Katrina once told me the families who had rice weren't the ones fighting over MREs at shelters. They were cooking real meals. Experts recommend 25 to 60 pounds of rice per person for a 1-year supply. That might sound like a lot until you do the math, pennies per meal and the cheapest insurance you'll ever buy. And here's a reality check. Rice consumption in North America is already projected to rise from 46.6 million to 60.9 million people by 2029. Translation? The demand is growing, and the smart people are stocking up. The only question is, will you be ahead of the curve or standing in line when shelves go empty? 2. Canned meats, protein that doesn't rot. Let's talk about the food everyone rolls their eyes at, canned meat. I used to hate the idea, too. Who wants chicken from a can? But real crisis stories changed my mind. Take my buddy Jake in Florida. During Hurricane Ian, power was out for 3 weeks. Grocery stores were either underwater or emptied in hours. Neighbors were driving 2 hours for bread. Meanwhile, his family was eating real meals, rice with canned chicken, tuna, and beef, because he'd quietly built a stash. His wife thought he was crazy when he started stockpiling. But when their neighbor, a well-off doctor, knocked on day 5 asking if they had food because his family was living on crackers, suddenly Jake looked like the smartest guy on the block. Here's what people don't get. Meat provides around 90% of the sustenance humans need to survive. That means in an emergency, canned meat isn't gross, it's life-saving. And unlike fresh meat, which spoils in days without refrigeration, canned meats laugh at blackouts, heat waves, and economic chaos. They last 2 to 5 years on the shelf. Canned tuna and olive oil is rich in omega-3s for brain function under stress. Canned chicken is versatile and works in soups, tacos, rice, and sandwiches. Sardines and salmon are packed with protein, calcium, and omega-3s. Canned beef hearty meals with rice and tomatoes that feel like luxury during a blackout. Remember the Texas freeze of 2021? Families lost hundreds of dollars of meat when their freezers thawed. Meanwhile, preppers with canned meat ate like kings. So the next time you see canned salmon or beef on sale, don't laugh. That's security in a can. 3. Dried beans and legumes, the other half of the equation. If rice is the backbone, beans are the muscle. The 2025 U.S. Dietary Advisory Committee actually ranked beans, peas, and lentils above chicken and beef in the protein section. Why? Because beans are nutritional gold. A single cup delivers nearly a third of your daily protein needs, plus fiber, iron, potassium, and folate. Combined with rice, they create a complete protein with all essential amino acids, basically nature's survival hack. I'll give you an example. Jake, the same guy from Florida, stockpiled rice and canned meat during the pandemic. Smart, right? But after 3 weeks of rice and Spam, he felt weak and sluggish. What was missing? Beans. Once he added them, the balance of carbs, protein, and fiber gave him real energy. And beans are ridiculously shelf-stable. Stored properly, dried beans can last 10 to 30 years. A $3 bag today could still feed your grandkids. Options to rotate. Black beans protein plus antioxidants. Kidney beans hearty, meaty flavor. Lentils cook fast, 20 minutes, and are high in fiber. Yeah, beans take time to soak and cook. But when crisis hits, time is exactly what you'll have. Civilizations have relied on legumes for thousands of years because they're foolproof. Bottom line, beans plus rice equals pennies per meal, complete nutrition, and the backbone of any prepper pantry. 4. Honey, liquid gold that never expires. Next up is one most people overlook, honey. Archaeologists have found jars of honey in Egyptian tombs that were still edible after 3,000 years. That alone makes it a must-have. But honey isn't just food. It's medicine, currency, and morale. Natural sweetener when sugar is scarce. Antiseptic properties for wounds, hospitals even use medical-grade honey. An energy boost that never spoils. During the Great Depression, families literally traded honey for essentials. Fast forward to today, with climate challenges killing bee populations and food inflation hitting 76% of countries, honey prices are spiking. The best part? It needs no refrigeration, and when you're weeks into bland rice and beans, a spoonful of honey can make meals feel alive again. Think of it as comfort, medicine, and a barter item all in one jar. 5. Canned tomatoes, the flavor that keeps you human. This one might surprise you, but preppers know, canned tomatoes disappear fast in shortages. Why? Because they're the base of countless meals and provide real nutrition. Here's the kicker. Canned tomatoes actually contain more lycopene than fresh ones. Over 700 studies show lycopene lowers risks of cancer, heart disease, and inflammation. But beyond health, canned tomatoes solve a crisis few people prepare for, the psychology of eating. After a week of plain rice and beans, your family will crave flavor. A simple sauce of canned tomatoes, garlic, and herbs can transform despair into hope. I'll never forget a Katrina survivor telling me, when that tomato sauce hit the pan, my kids finally smiled again. It made us feel human. High-acid foods like tomatoes keep quality for 18 months past their sell-by date. Stock diced, crushed, paste, and sauce. They turn survival rations into real meals and keep morale alive. Because survival isn't just about calories. It's about feeling like life is still worth living. 6. Powdered milk, the overlooked lifesaver. Finally, the sleeper food, powdered milk. Yeah, I know. Chalky, school cafeteria vibes. But in a crisis, this stuff is gold. During Lebanon's economic collapse, milk prices jumped from $2 to $20 a gallon, when you could even find it. Families who had powdered milk weren't just drinking it, they were trading it like cash. Powdered milk lasts up to 2 years, takes almost no storage space, and delivers calcium, protein, and vitamin D. With a little prep, mixing with cold water and chilling, it tastes nearly identical to fresh milk. And think about the psychological comfort. On day 4 of a blackout, your kids wake up scared. But you can still pour them cereal with milk. That little sense of normalcy? Priceless. Pro tip. Stock whole milk powder for drinking. Non-fat milk powder for baking. Even buttermilk powder for pancakes and biscuits. It's like having a dairy aisle that never expires. Wrapping it up, prepare smart, not crazy. Let me be clear, I'm not telling you to run to the store and clear shelves like a doomsday prepper. That helps no one. Here's what you should do instead. Next time you shop, grab one extra item from this list. A bag of rice this week. A few cans of chicken next week. Build slowly, steadily, responsibly. Because here's the harsh truth, the best time to stock up was 6 months ago. The second best time is right now. Food prices are already at record highs. Supply chains are fragile. Climate disasters and conflicts aren't slowing down. Pretending everything will stay stable is the real gamble. Remember what my Lebanese friend's neighbor said while calmly sipping milk in a country where shelves were bare: the smart ones prepare when times are good, not when times are bad. So ask yourself, which of these 6 foods surprised you the most? And more importantly, which one are you putting in your cart this week?